because you run the Granite Shares Bloomberg Commodity Strategy ETF. That's COMB is the symbol. It owns futures contracts on 24 different commodities. It's been underperforming for years, but now commodities are hot this year. You're outperforming. You want to give a broad view of the commodity market right now for us?
Yeah, that's right. So one of the first years where, commodity markets as a whole have outperformed the stock market at large, quite considerably. And so typically, when you get commodities outperforming to such a degree, you've got to ask yourself what's going on. And, again, we've talked about some of the issues already on this show, but broadly speaking, this is about years of lack of investment in capital expenditure throughout the entire commodity complex, whether you're talking about the energy complex, whether you're talking about industrial metals or even precious metals. We've had a lack of spending on production, and this is now really combined with this perfect storm of lockdowns, capacity constraints last year, breaking into now a global economy that's reopening and demand, frankly, outstripping supply for the majority of these commodities.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel Market Uncharted. Today a really trendy topic to discuss. We are going to see agriculture ETFs and investments for the future. As we've seen on the video, since the 2020, the lockdowns and now the reopening of the economies, and without the capital expenditure in the last decade, these stocks are getting higher and higher because the production stands still and the demand really went up. And the idea is to talk a little bit about the agriculture commodities, why they are rising, a few ways that we can actually profit from it. So basically, to explain, we need to say that commodities prices are rising around the world, and many producers are trying to manage by using alternative crops or cutting quality standards. When the prices of agricultural commodities rise, some producers lower quality standards to save costs or buy alternative ingredients. So this is the idea that's going on in the markets. It started in 2020. This is a previous news that spoke that exports of agricultural commodities during March to June of last year, 2020, increased by 23%. Then we saw movements like this in corn futures that from one moment to the other really skyrocketed, and this happened across all commodity bases. Also the fertilizer, which is really important to make food, and once the fertilizer prices rise, usually the food prices rise as well. And this is what happened since the beginning of this year. Therefore, that's why we see most of our inflation in this type of commodities. Here, just a quick graph of wheat, where we can see that since the beginning of 2021, the trend is up really strong, and every time we see this is going to have an impact on our cost basis in our family budget. Here, another example of coffee. And if we also compare with ammonia prices, again, another fertilizer that will have an impact, you see that agriculture funds will go up as the fertilizer. And this is just, in this case, a graph from Crescat Capital presented by Tavi Costa, where he just put the relationship between ammonia and agriculture commodities. And here also a downtrend since 2008 of all agricultural commodities, and this is the DBA ETF in monthly candles that they just broke a really important resistance since the last decade. So this could be a really good trading idea. You can see here the breakout is quite obvious, and the DBA ETF is composed by soybeans, corn futures, live cattle, cocoa, lean hogs, wheat, and so on and so forth. So basically this is a bet that all agricultural commodities will rise after a bear market of the last decade. If you don't want to go straight to the commodities, you have, for example, the agricultural producers. I just bring here the ETF Veggie, which is a BlackRock ETF that I follow, that if you don't want to invest directly on the commodity, you can buy the producer. And again, if you want to diversify, you go with the ETF producer, or you can go for a company. For the company itself, I select Deere & Company, which is a company that I follow a lot. They have good dividends, and you can see here the trend especially since last year is up, now consolidating for a few months. And if the commodities continue to do this breakout, Deere can be a good bet on this agriculture transition and trade for the next few months. So thank you guys for watching this video. Never forget, knowledge is not power, knowledge is potential power, execution is everything, and just like the markets, we will not rest.